Hey, what are you over here whining about? Again, whether or not that works, I don't know, but this rear jug's always a pain in the ass. There's so little room. It's the back bump. I have a feeling my hands are gonna be just too big for this. Heads are finally back. Finally back. Took almost a month. Wrong parts got ordered or something, I don't really know. But they're back. Finally get this thing back together. I have everything else I need to get this thing done. Everything else. I'm gonna try to do it all in one video. I'm gonna go over some of the specs on these heads because I have an itemized list of everything that was done. So first of all, heads got ported, 1.9 inch intake valves, 1.63 exhaust valves, all new guides, 0.610 inch springs. The gasket surface on the rear head had to be replaced because of the damage to it. The cylinders, like I previously mentioned in the last video, had to get bored and honed to 20 over. And then he also did the ring gap on the rings on the new pistons. All new guides, valves, valve seats, valve seals, everything. The whole part, pretty much the whole head is new, minus the actual stock casting. So yeah, super excited about that. I did get my head gaskets in. They are the Cometic multi-layer steel, so I'm going to be using their torque specs, not the Harley or the service manual specs. These ones, I've done these before. They're pretty simple. It's just a sequence of stepping it up. I think it's, 14 pounds, 22, 35, and then a final of 42 in order, and I'll go through all that. So without further ado, we're gonna get these bolts taken out, head gaskets put on, heads put on, bolts tightened down. I'm gonna put some anti-seize on them, everything torqued down, and then we're gonna start getting the whole valve train reassembled. Should be a very eventful evening. Before I get this turned on, I'm gonna go over one more thing real quick. Like I said, the heads were ported, so the intake got gapped, or got ported pretty well. It's a lot bigger than it was. And then he did this, what he called a D-style port or a D-shaped port. You can see it's a little bit flatter on the bottom on the exhaust side here than it is more round up top. Basically, his theory behind that, again, I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but he's been doing it a while, so he said it sort of makes the exhaust gases sort of roll down into the pipes instead of coming out straight and hitting the sidewall of the exhaust. So it makes it flow a little bit better. Again, whether or not that works, I don't know, but I figured it wouldn't hurt to try. Okay, so like I said, the torque specs are going to be going from 9 pounds to 14 to 22, 35, and then finally at 42. So 5 steps, and they're going to go in this order. Looking down at the heads from my side, it's going to be right, left, and then rear, right, and left. Kind of a crisscross pattern as much as you can do with 4. 100% torque down. Final torque of 42 foot-pounds. I got the intake and the exhaust ports all plugged just to make sure nothing gets in there, and I also have the spark plugs loosely fitting here so nothing falls down in the combustion chamber. Not ideal at this stage in this rebuild. So next up is going to be the rest of the valve train. I'm going to bolt up this engine mount, top engine mount. Probably go ahead and get the intake manifold put on just because it'll be easier without all the rest of the shit in there. And then we should be well on our way. Got a little ahead of myself. A little excited to get this thing back together. But I got the rocker box bottoms on. Went ahead and got the breathers rebuilt. The gasket kit I came out with all new breather stuff, but like I said, I just rebuilt this engine, so I didn't really need it, but I had it, so I might as well. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything, all the gaskets sprayed with sealant, thrown on, put on, and then we'll go to the front one. No, I have not put the push rods in yet because I have new adjustable ones, so I'm gonna be putting them in, actually after I get these put on, and the new O-rings for all this stuff gets put on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the front jug, rocker arms, and breather put in place. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of these push rods. Now, if you saw my old build, you know I had the fueling one-piece thick wall push rods, these ones here. I'm not gonna be reusing these. Unfortunately, I really like these because they're really stout, but it was recommended to me to get these S&S, or these ones are Fuel Moto, they're the same thing though, etched with Fuel Moto's logo. These quickie adjustable rods, and that's because the deck height on these heads is now slightly different than what it was. So there could be some valve seal issues with the valve being fully closed. It might be, you know, 1/1000th of an inch open or some shit like that. So he went ahead and recommended I get these. Luckily, a friend of mine had an extra set lying around, brand new. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Also, I have all new O-rings to go in the push rod covers. I've never installed these adjustable rods before, but I watched Fuel Moto's video. Seemed very straightforward. Basically, you're gonna wanna get the piston top dead center and then pretty much extend the push rod out to 0 lash. Basically, no up and down movement, but you can still sort of spin it. And then you're gonna go 3.5 turns from there. If you have the Woods lifters, I think it's 4 turns, but everything else from what Fuel Moto's website said was 3.5 turns. So basically I went ahead and marked, you're probably not gonna be able to see it on the camera very well. On here there's a line I marked so I know what exactly 3.5 turns is gonna be. We're gonna go ahead and get this rear jug to top dead center, and these are marked intake and exhaust. There's different lengths, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. And I'm gonna get these push rod covers cleaned up because they're actually pretty nasty. Okay, so that's gonna be top dead center right there. So we're gonna do intake side first. Okay, so basically what happened there was 0 lash, and then I got the 0 lash. Took me a while, my fingers are too big. There's not a lot of wiggle room in here at all. So 0 lash, and then it's 3.5 turns, and these are indexed 6 sides on this wrench face. So I basically did 21 movements, I guess you'd call them, I don't really know, to get it to 3.5 turns. Basically moving it 1/6 of a circle at a time to 21 times to get that 3.5 rotations. So that was the intake side, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the exhaust side now. Same exact thing, different rod, but same process. Well, 0 lash, 3.5 turns. Should be able to get it a little bit easier this time. That was a pain in the ass, but this one's a little bit up closer, so I should be able to see a little bit better and do a little bit faster. So this is going to be kind of hard to see because of how dark it is right here, but this is 0 lash. Basically you can spin this as a whole, and the whole rod's going to move, not separate from the threaded part and the main body, but you're going to have 0 up and down movement. So there's no movement up and down, but you can still spin it freely. So now this is where we're going to do our 21 rotations, or 21 turns I should say.